This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from the clubhouse, it's Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine.
And this is Amanda.
And tonight we watched Grave Encounters, as per the request.
Yeah.
Amanda's going to give us a quick summary of the movie.
Grave Encounters is a movie about a group of paranormal investigators who are trying to get the first season together for a show so they can pitch it, and things get real crazy and real surreal.
Much more than they bargained for.
Way more than anyone in a paranormal investigation would ever want.
Yes.
It does not end well for them.
It's not a happy ending movie.
No.
So I have some fun facts for us. Grave Encounters was filmed over 10 nights and 2 days. So not that long.
Fast.
Yeah, pretty fast.
I mean, I wouldn't expect found footage to take that long.
Yeah, I would think
Something
that
like
found
this,
footage.
especially.
Yeah, it would be a little bit easier. This was actually filmed at Riverview Hospital, which is an abandoned mental institution in British Columbia. It was built at the turn of the 20th century and closed down in 2012. It also hosted such films as Watchmen and TV shows like X-Files, Riverdale, Supernatural, as Amanda pointed out while we were watching.
Yeah, I recognize it.
So the directors set out to kind of differentiate it from the other iconic found footage films by way of basically like throwing the stuff in our face. Like instead of it just being like, oh, it's implied that like there's a demon over here moving things, it's like it's visibly running at you, the demon.
Interesting, because that is like the movie's major flaw.
Yes.
Is it's too in your face.
It is. It's too much. Especially from the hallway with the hands. I just can't.
That's a bit much.
The directors, which is the Vicious brothers, who aren't actually brothers, I'm pretty sure they got different last names, but they actually would watch on the monitors and wait until the people like walking down the hallway were close enough, and they would like run through the room, and then they would like smack on the door to like try to get authentic reaction.
That's good. That's fun though.
I think that's adorable. I'm like, that's definitely the way that I would direct. Oh, crew members and security guards that work in this place where they film things have recurrently seen shadow figures, apparitions of former patients and staff. There's a phantom dog that comes around. They'll see strange lights and moving objects, and some hear disembodied footsteps and voices. Doors and windows will bang and open on their own. Some of them even hear patients' bells ringing in empty wards.
Wouldn't that be crazy if you were doing a movie about paranormal investigators and you caught some paranormal activity on camera?
Dream of dreams. No one's gonna believe you.
That would be so crazy.
Everyone's gonna be like, sure, Bob. Of course you did.
Yeah, okay. Man, it makes me want to like watch all the things that this has been featured in and see if I can see anything. You know, ain't got the kind of time though.
No. But if CinemaSins wants to check it out, or someone else
wants to do it, I'll watch that video.
Yes, we'll watch your 15-minute YouTube video once you've done the 90 hours of watching.
Exactly.
For once, we're gonna flip-flop. You know how on IMDb they'll put the fun facts and then they'll put like goofs? I always find the goof section to be funny. 90% of the time, one of the things that they said was, they were like, when Sasha, as he says, does her EVP session right before her hair is touched, that the voice coming from the tape recorder sounds nothing like what Sasha had just said. And I was like, I feel that all EVP recording things. They'll always like play it back and they'll be like, oh, did you hear that? It said death is coming. And I'll be like, it did not sound like that at all.
It sounded like someone's feet on the ground, shuffling about.
At the very beginning of the movie, we see a summary of the episode of Grave Encounters, and at the end of the first sentence, they misspelled asylum.
Embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. Like, tragic. Oh, at the end of the credits, a message comes up that reads, "No rats were eaten during the making of this film."
I would hope not. Oh, nasty.
Oh, the main guy, his name's Sean Rogerson, he was actually terrified at times during filming because there would be unexplained noises on set. But it really creeped him out. who also, he did not want to take the role. He like was not feeling it. He didn't even read the script at first, but his friend was the casting director, networking, who you know, and she kept badgering him about it until he finally read it. And then once he read it, he was like, "Ooh, I do kind of want to do this."
I know, and well, I mean, he's got the look of a TV paranormal investigator.
He does. The Vicious Brothers said that the birth of this idea was just to make a low budget movie. And I was like, well, achieved. I wonder how much that setting cost to film it.
I mean,
probably the more famous it's gotten, probably the more like the more people that film there, probably the more expensive it is, I would think. When the people are walking around lost, that is almost all improv, like the stuff that they say during that. The asylum where it was filmed, so it actually opened up April 1st, 1913 and closed Friday the 13th, July 2012.
Stop it.
Creepy.
That's going to be haunted.
I know.
You can't close on a day like that and not be haunted.
Yeah, ask him for it. And so when they were like talking about closing the place, one of the people was like, "Oh man, what are we going to do about Betty? She's been here her whole life. She had literally been born there and kept there her entire life."
No.
Yeah, and I knew that they had like a like nursery and stuff like that, but I didn't realize that that type of stuff was happening. And I tried really hard to look up like the records for Betty to see like how old was she when it closed down, stuff like that, but I could not find it anywhere. It was very depressing. In a news interview, I heard them say that the men who were put into Riverview were usually put in because of run-ins that they had had with the law. Most women were signed in by husbands or fathers. The person who ran Riverview did use electroshock therapy as well as sterilizing some of the residents. So I watched a couple of YouTube videos where like people broke in and stuff and went around looking in the asylum, and in one of them, the people, when they were in like the rec area or the gym, it's like this huge area, and on the other side they could hear like the sound of someone screaming, and it was like 6 of them that were there, so it's not like one person heard it.
Oh no, I just got chills.
It was very creepy.
I don't like that.
I would not like it.
Like, we're good. We're out.
I know, like literally not just a disembodied voice, but it's screaming.
Like if that had happened to us.
No, I would have noped so fast. I would have been like, "You guys better keep up. Like, we are leaving." Almost left Mackenzie when she wanted to stare at that dead bird. I was like, no. You know, we got time. Oh, and then there was another video where, and this was by a different group, their radio kept turning on by itself. Like, they had to keep turning it off. It was really weird. And it was, like, in the video, so I was, like, watching it happen to them. And their reaction seemed pretty real, because they were mostly just confused. And it was very odd. And it, like, kept turning on to, like, real things. So I was like, is it, like, trying to speak to them? Like, that was very creepy.
And it was just like a radio. It wasn't one of those spirit boxes.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a spirit box. It was just, like, a radio. Maybe it could have even been, like, a walkie-talkie.
Did they bring it with them because they were going to party or something? Or, like,
I don't know. See, that part was never explained. The people who made these videos were not good about, like, you know, it's not like they were, like, being clear to be like, we're here on a ghost hunt. So these are, it was not a grave encounters. Yeah. It was just some dummies with some spray paint in their back wandering around. Oh, on the front of the hospital, like those beautiful stairs in the beginning, someone carved a Ouija board into the stone part on the top. Isn't that creepy?
That takes so long.
I know, and so much effort.
You got all the letters, the yes, the no, numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it looked a little different than like a regular Ouija board, which almost made it look creepier because it had like a couple different symbols and stuff that I didn't recognize.
For what?
I don't know. They found it at the same, and it was pretty funny when they found it too, because like the guy had his hand just like on the railing, he didn't know, and then one of his friends was like, "Dude, what is that?" And then they like looks down and they were like, "It's a Ouija board," and he, like basically ran off. They were like, "No."
It's like, I wasn't touching it. No.
Yep. So those are the fun facts for this movie. So now we have to move into scares. What got us?
I mean, it was loaded heavy with some jump scares. that, and but like cheap jump scares where it wasn't just like something creepy happened, but it was like a crazy loud noise out of nowhere too.
Yes. Oh yeah, I hate those. They're my least fave. Yeah, the only one that made me jump at all, like the only moment, was the part where she, Sasha is like Sasha standing by that door, and then the hand like breaks through the glass, and it made me jump a little.
Yeah, there were a couple in the beginning that got me too, like the very first one where TC is his name. TC is in that room.
What a weird, like, abbreviated name.
What was his name? Travis?
I don't know.
Anyway, TC was in that room by himself, and then the door slammed, and I was like, ah!
Yeah, fair.
And then when her hair goes up, because I had forgotten all about that, because we watched this before, but
it's been a minute.
Yeah, and I was like, ah! It's like the second time you see a jump scare, it's like the first time it's like scream bloody murder. The second time it's like ugh.
Exactly. I know, especially like it depends on how well it's done too.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh man, I love it when a movie can actually scare me though, and it feels earned.
Oh, like The Strangers.
Yeah,
I watched that one so many times, and every time. Because it's like they're silent jump scares. All of a sudden, it's just someone standing in the background who shouldn't be there, and you're like, no!
I know, it's genuinely upsetting. What comes to mind for me is Us, and like just the whole part from once they see them standing at the top of their driveway. I am so stressed. That whole like 7 minutes, I'm like, I don't like it. But yeah, this one was not heavy on scares.
I mean, I think some of it.
What was heavy on attempts for scares?
Yeah, I don't really appreciate the cheap jump scares so much, but like the psychological scary part of it was a good place, and it should have been more the focus, because the whole thing is like they go into this asylum to just do an investigation. At first, there's like no activity; they're just faking it, and then things start happening. Genuine activity happens in this movie, not like genuine, but like pretend genuine.
Yes.
For the movie's sake, and they're getting lost, like nothing's making any sense anymore. Where they're going isn't where they should be, and everything's just all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally, it gets to be time when they should be leaving. The guy who's supposed to unlock the doors and let them out never shows up. One of them goes missing as he's collecting the stuff, and then you start to realize it's getting to be like sunrise time, and the sun's not up. Like you look out the windows, it's just blackness. They like try to like bust through the doors, and then they bust through, and it's just a hallway where it should be the outside. Every time they try and find an exit, it's like it's not an exit, it's just a wall or more hospital. Exactly. And I think if the emphasis had been more on that, it would have been like a better movie. But instead there's like all these cheap jump scares. There's like literal ghost demon things, hands coming out of nowhere, loud banging sounds for no reason.
Yeah, it's silly.
The idea of like being there like at the 24-hour mark, I personally would have lost my mind. Like I would have snapped. I would have been like, it's been 24 hours, we have windows and there's no sun coming through. This isn't right. We died at some point. We died, and this is hell. I don't want to be here anymore. And it makes me think of this one movie. In it, these people are snowed in, and one of the characters doesn't like the other one, and tricks them into thinking that they died of carbon monoxide poisoning in the night, and that they're really dead, and they're like either ghosts or they're like in hell or something. And it's so messed up, and it's so good.
It's so weird.
We should watch it one day.
Okay, I'd be down. What a weird concept for a movie.
It's freaky because for a while you're watching, you're also there like with this character who's like being gaslit, and you're like, wait.
Gaslit.
Hey. You're like, wait, what's happening? And then like you find like there's like a bit of a reveal, and you find out that this character was playing a prank.
What a horrible prank.
It is. It goes very bad.
Friendship's definitely over.
It goes so bad, but it's so terribly good for the movie.
Yeah, I definitely think that it would have been better if they had played on more of, like, the psychological aspect of it, because, I mean, there's so much time going by, too. Like, there should be a lot more mental breakdowns happening. Like, even if you were staying strong for a while, everyone has a breaking point. Like,
Mine would have been very early on. I'm telling you right now.
yeah, mine probably would have lasted, like, a bit longer. Like, I would have been like, our clocks must be messed up, and then apparently none of us have a good internal sense of time. Like, he's coming, I'm sure. But it probably, I think that only could have lasted for, like, 2 days before I would have been like, okay, I don't know what to do from here. Yeah, I don't know how my mind could have wrapped around what these people were supposedly going through.
Yeah, because they're trapped in there for days.
Yeah.
Days. In darkness, with no food and very little water.
Yeah.
Because their food also all goes bad.
I know. Although their water lasts, like, a ridiculous amount of time.
They have, like, cases on cases of water. And they just...
I guess, even though we never see it.
No.
It's not even in the cooler. Like...
Yeah. Another one of those things that they should have, like, just, put in there for us. If they're gonna, like, show them with water all the time.
Especially because they had it for so long, even though they kept getting trapped other places. Mm-hmm. And, like, sleeping in those other places.
Yeah, I mean, they always had, like, a backpack with them, but it would have been nice to see them, like, have the cases of water, and then see someone, like, loading a backpack with water bottles, so there's, like, oh, there's quite a few in there. Like, that's mostly what's in that backpack.
Yeah, little things like that make a difference.
Yeah.
In movies, I feel like. It would just be an easy thing to add to the realism.
Yeah.
Which I didn't put it as a fun fact, but one of the things that I read said that, like, it was kind of a tough decision for the writer-directors as to, like, how real they wanted it to be versus, like, how much they wanted to show. Mm-hmm. And then at some point they just decided, no, we want to show whatever we want. And so, like, that's where they definitely leaned. Yeah. It did not.
They needed an
feel
editor.
grasped in reality.
An editor to come in there and be like, oh, too much.
Yeah. Hats on hats.
Yeah, it's like, we were talking about when we were watching the movie, one of the friends goes missing. One of the characters is just, like, irrationally angry the whole time. Like, that's his reaction, I guess. Maybe it's his fear reaction. It's just to go straight from fear to anger. Because he's just yelling at everyone the entire time. Mm-hmm. And so he's, like, looking for him, and he's just mad. He's like, where are you? Like, what are you doing, man?
My gosh. That dog scared me.
The werewolf.
Scarier than the movie.
Because it's real. But it would have been nice if like, that character's known as, like, a prankster and would, like, do stuff like hide.
Yes.
And so when he goes missing and, like, this guy's being all mad at him and it's like, oh, come on, guy.
Yeah, then it would have made more sense. Yeah, you wouldn't be like, why would you assume that this grown man is hiding from you? Like, yeah, little things like that did not hold together continuity-wise or make sense with the characters. Mm-hmm. So now that we've covered scares, or more accurately, lack thereof, what about laughs?
I mean, I think the idea of Houston's character, the quote-unquote psychic, who's really just an actor pretending to be a psychic, is funny.
Yeah. He did a good job acting, too. Like, he wasn't so over the top that it was, like, obnoxious. I laughed really hard when they were doing, like, opening credit shots and stuff, and it was like they were all making their harsh faces, and I just couldn't take it. I was like, you look so silly. It's ridiculous. Oh, man. So, yeah, most of my laughs were just at, like, the over-the-topness of so much of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, though, because they did some things. Oh, I know what we both laughed at really hard, and it was definitely intentional on their part. It was when he paid the gardener off to say the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I just, like, with his dead eyes. It was very scary.
Just dead-eyed, looking off into the nowhere distance.
That was good. That was very well done. Honestly, I think that they themselves could have put in, like, a lot more jokes because of the way it was being done.
Yeah.
But, I guess they didn't think of any.
Not everyone's are comic geniuses like us.
Pity the fool. Because, honestly, I wonder if that was even, like, written into the script, or if the guy playing that just acted it that way because he's hilarious. Because that would be kind of my guess, is that he probably just nailed it.
He's like, okay, so where am I looking, guys? Anywhere but the camera. Okay.
What were our least favorite parts? Mine has to be the hands, I think. For a lot of it, I'm just thinking to myself, oh, I'm being harsh. Like, there is merit to this movie. Like, some of these ideas are good, I guess. I'm just being too much. But then as soon as that happens, I'm like, no, you've lost all credibility. I can't pretend there is anything good here.
I probably didn't like the parts where our, like, main dude goes off on his own. He sees that tongue, and he's like, is that a tongue? I'm sorry. Everything's already hit the fan. Yeah. I'm not going to go look and make sure that's a tongue on the ground. I'm like,
You've been in there for days.
I'm out of there. What is he going to do? Eat it? Like, I don't... No, he goes over, he gets closer to the tongue on the ground, then he looks up and there's like this demon creature who jumps on him. 2 minutes later, he's run back to the other group. They hear the monster coming for him, and he goes and runs towards him like a little...
After dropping his weapon, because that's what you do.
Yeah, because the whole purpose of going out there when he saw the tongue was to get the pole, right?
Yeah.
To pry open the elevator.
Yes.
And he drops it like it's not a better tool than your bare hands, and then that creepy tongueless thing attack you.
Yeah. I really felt for them too. Just the thought of them having to climb down that elevator shaft after their friend had just...
Oh, my God.
I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But also, terrible friends, because he'd been missing for so long, and they took a nap. Like, they barely looked for him. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, if this were Club and I were missing and then there was footage of you guys taking a nap, I would be livid.
This bothers me in like a lot of movies, because I don't know how many people have smelled like blood, the strong smell of blood. Like when there's a lot of blood anywhere, you smell it, you know what it is, and it is very gross. Like I personally do not enjoy it. I don't know anyone who does, who's like, blood. Yeah. But there's a scene where there's a whole tub full of it, and they don't notice it until they like see it with their own eyeballs. You would have known it as soon as you walked in that room. You would have been hit with that wave of irony blood smell, and you'd been like, oh, what is, no.
Yeah, like people should be gagging. It's disgusting. And yeah, people often in movies and stuff don't comment on it at all.
No, and they should be.
Yeah, I agree. What were our favorite parts? I think that my favorite part is him still doing his sign off at the end, even after he's gotten his lobotomy. I just think that that's a great touch. You know what else was terrible that we forgot to mention? The makeup artist. She or he was doing way too much, or they were doing way too much.
Yeah, the just dark circles. Just like, it wasn't even they didn't make it look dark circles. It looks like someone just took like black eyeshadow under people's eyes and just like rubbed like the whole under eye and just covered it in black. Mm-hmm. Like it looked like death metal corpse paint on everyone.
Trying way too hard.
We said like a bunch. It's too much.
Yeah.
Like they took everything and like just turned it up to 11, and you should have been more subtle with it, and it would have had a better effect.
I agree. And also, I think that this happens in a lot of horror movies where they don't take the time to get you invested in the characters in any way. And for me, that really ruins pretty much the rest of the movie, because I don't care about your fate. Like, I barely care about you at all. Like, the only thing that they did to even endure us to anyone was when TC got that call from, like, his baby mama? I don't know, because he doesn't call her his wife. And, like, talks to his daughter for a minute. But then he's yelling at everyone the whole rest of the film and making, like, homophobic slurs and just not my jam.
His language was not good.
I just think that it can be done, and that it's important to take the time to do it. Like in The Strangers, to kind of go back to that. It's like they bring you into it immediately with this emotional connection where he's proposed and
it did not go.
And you're immediately like, oh, I feel so bad for you guys. Like, to even have to be around each other. And so it's like you're already kind of emotionally connecting and empathizing with these people. And so then the more that happens, the more that you're like, ah! Like, I want you to live.
I know, you just feel so bad for them. It's like, oh man, this on top of that failed proposal.
The worst night ever. Like, it was probably already the worst night of their lives. like probably all wrecked.
Yeah, if the strangers hadn't shown up at their house, they would have been like, it would have gone down in history as the worst night of their lives.
Oh man, that movie's crazy. That movie stresses me out. Like even thinking back, I'm like, ooh, I remember some of the scares, and I'm like, oh gosh. Plot quality.
Again, I think it's a good concept, but at the same time, like how you said that they just wanted to make a low budget movie, and so they just decided to do a found footage horror film. It shows,
yes,
that there were parts of it that weren't thought through. Like there was moments of levity that were missed out on, and they didn't put enough thought and time and effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just pretty obvious. I mean, I enjoy the movie. Like, it's a great movie to watch with someone who gets messed up by jump scares really easily. Like, it would be so fun. So fun to watch with someone who, like, jumps at every jump scare for the first time.
That would be fun. They would get it every time.
Every time.
So many. It'd be kind of fun to watch with Megan because she gets angry at jump scares. So she'd be, like, livid by the end. Oh, man. Which, another thing, too, that we haven't talked about yet is how they constantly, during the jump scares, do that, like, oh, the camera's malfunctioning thing. The whole movie. Like,
and it's, like, it's done very on the cheap, that, like, camera glitch. Like, it's very obvious that it was overlaid in post-production, and it doesn't look natural or organic.
And it only happens during the jump scares, and it's just, it's bad, and it's done so much. Ugh, not good. Yeah, plot quality. I mean, it's like, I'm torn. I do think that there are, like, points where it moves along, but again, I do think that it would make a difference if the people felt more connected, plot quality-wise. It doesn't feel like it takes forever. Also, though, it's only a 90-minute movie, so if it did feel like it was taking forever, they'd really be messing up. So, I don't know. Somewhere around average, but slightly below.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it could have been fixed if you had seen maybe some, like, conversations between, like, the cast and crew about, like, their personal lives, or about, like, how they're intertwined. Like, maybe there's, like, a weird, awkward love triangle or something.
Why not? I mean, why not? They have, like, that one moment where the main guy and Sasha were, like...
so bad.
We're like, I don't know, just so close together, their faces were. And I was like, is this supposed to be romantic? I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. If it's supposed to be romantic, it's way too late. So now we have to rate it. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I do think that I feel like I've, like, been harsh on it, but I do like I do like the general premise of it being a ghost show that's like, oh, things take a turn. I just think it could have been done better. But in all fairness, this was their first, like, film. So I would give it 2.7 odorless tubs of blood.
I'm just writing the struggle bus right now because I want to give it an accurate rating, but I also don't know how I can possibly do that when I don't know when I've rated things previously.
Just gotta go gut instinct.
I think I'm gonna go 3 tubs of blood.
Okay.
Because, I mean, good concept. And, I mean, it's entertaining. And, like, to me, at least, it's enjoyable. Less enjoyable on the second run when you're being nitpicky, like we do.
Yeah.
That's how the Amanda and Nadine roll.
That is true. It is harder to, like, get a good rating from us on the second go around.
Yeah. A lot more critical that second time.
Yeah. Horror movies do not usually hold up to intense scrutiny.
No.
All right. You guys can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Scary Movie Clubcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next movie night, and don't forget, there are 83 days till Halloween. Bye.
Bye. My eyes are watering so bad right now. I don't know
because
why.
We're already tired.
I think so. My body is crying because it doesn't want to do this.
Your body's crying because it's like, there's so much left in the night.
So it looks like I'm crying. That's why.
Because I'm tearing up because of sadness.
Deep inner sadness.
Yeah. Smokes and peps at the same time.
Liquor.
you want me to do it?
Please.
Smokey's like, don't let him in, I'm getting the food.
Yes, he was in fact eating your food, Peppy.
Pepper's like,
He's
how
like,
dare you?
oh, it's gonna have Smokey spit on it. Gross.
Oh, God. It would just be such a joy if Blast would ever sponsor us. That would be the dream of dreams.
I would die. I would. Alright.
I'd be like,
I would be
but
dead.
can you make me a caffeine-free version? Please.
I will then pay me Blast. I want you to be hydrated, baby, but
Hey, this is not squirtable offense. Poor baby boy tried to drink his own water.
sorry, you got me. You had the whole entire movie.
He's like, that was cuddle time. You know you loved. Of course, he did have the whole mic time. So. That's his baby boy Pepper purring. He's so happy. He loves his Manda. Apparently, he likes little S&M relationships. He gets scored for no reason. Now he's happy as luck. All my side notes today will come to you in Russian accent.